Hello, City Skylines fans. I'm Sockswayup, and welcome back to Newman Shore. It's been a while since we've done an expansion episode, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to expand the city. We're finally going to hit that goal of the next milestone, getting 36,000 people into the town. It's going to be a chore. We might have to do some balancing of the other demands of the industry demand and the commercial demand. You can see the first area that we're going to expand, that's going to be primarily residential. This second section that we're highlighting here, we're going to throw some commercial, some offices in there as well, just to keep the demands balanced as we jump into this episode. First thing we need to do is take a look at the demands that we're running into right now. They're a little unbalanced. There's a lot of industry and office demand as well as commercial. Not a lot of residential demand. So the first thing we're going to do is add a little bit of a commercial complex here. We go ahead and expand the district from an existing neighborhood that's close to this area and then set it to the organic and local produce. I wanted those buildings in this area. I didn't want the generic vanilla City Skylines buildings. I definitely like these ones better. We also threw a little bit of offices in there just to see how much of the demand that would help with. We're doing a lot of expansion, or we're planning a lot of expansion for this new residential area to get us all the way to 36,000. We're under 30,000 right now, so we do have to add more than 6,000 citizens in this episode. It's going to be a little bit of a grind, but here we go. We're starting the road layout. This new residential area, again, it's going to fit 6,000, if not more. Later on, we'll probably work on upgrading all the houses. We need to jam pack a lot of citizens in these 9 tiles. I have some plans. We used a lot of space with the airport. There's some other industries I want to fit in as well. So getting up to, I think it's 90,000 is the full milestone for 9 tiles being unlocked. That's going to be a lot. So right now we're playing around with an idea here. We're cutting through the neighborhood or a park area with the train track. So I wanted to guard that with some fences so people couldn't just walk on the trains when they're in a park area that we are designing. Instead of using the Park Life DLC, we're just going ahead and designing our own little path. We don't do a lot of detailing to that, but at least we have a new area for people to hang out in their neighborhood. But here we're just adding in a little more of the roads, prepping this area for what's going to be that mass increase of citizens and residents. Just got to get it all up and running, and then we're going to zone it and wait for the game to catch up, see what the demands do, see which areas we have to adjust, and let the game kind of dictate what we do next. So our next priority is going to be education and services. First, we're going to start off with the elementary school and high school. We're going to give it some parking as well. We're also going to add in one of our custom parks that we made last episode, see if it fits into this area, maybe a basketball court as well, add a couple trees, just finish this area off and make it a nice area for kids to go to school and hang out when they're not in class. Definitely think it's a cool way to do things, and it's vanilla City Skylines, so we're doing our best and trying to give it a little bit of a customized feel. I think this works out nice. We get a little bit of our trees in here, give it the feel of Newman Shore, and that area is good. We're adding in some parks as well, just sporadically throughout this area before we zone it. We're gonna also add in some hospitals and police stations, all of the things that they need. With these parks that we added, we're gonna add some paths, kind of cutting through the neighborhood. I kind of going back as I was editing this, I felt like we could have done a little better with the pathing through this residential area, but I think there's enough. It's a good balance, and we're trying to detail as we go as well. Make sure all those roads get upgraded to use the custom content creator trees that were added in this DLC as well. Finally getting the zoning going. We're gonna see how quickly we can get this to zone. I have a feeling we're gonna have to do a lot of other things to this area, not necessarily this area, but the city, to get the demands to balance out. We definitely fell behind on residents or citizens versus jobs, so we're gonna have to expand, and here we are. We're putting the high-rise ban on this area that we're adding in commercial buildings and offices. I don't want a skyscraper, or I don't want skyscrapers in this area, so we're using that policy to take care of that. Here's another little commercial area that we're adding, trying to just kickstart the game, get it to accept the fact that we're trying to add a ton of people and get the demands to balance out. Again, this is something you definitely have to balance in vanilla City Skylines or unmodded City Skylines, and it's working. It is doing what it's supposed to do. Sometimes it gets a little maddening, the amount of commercial that the game wants, but I think when I was building it and I looked at the stats, we do have a lot of people and a lot of unemployed people. So this expansion and adding in the high-rise band here as well was definitely needed. A ton of offices were needed, a ton of commercial. We actually need to add a little more industry as well to get the game back in balance, and we'll probably do that a little bit off camera so we can focus on some of the things we'll talk about at the end of this episode for the upcoming episodes. But I thought adding in these low-rise offices was a good use of this space. As we add all these commercial and offices, you can see the residents are growing. The population is increasing. We're almost at 33,000 already, so about halfway where we want to get in this episode. But we have to keep expanding the office and commercial areas to keep up with the residential demand. We zoned a ton of residential, so got to play the game the way it was built and intended to be played. So that's what we're doing. This is another area that isn't finished in this episode, but we've started it. It's definitely the style and the look I wanted to go for in the area. So we're gonna have some somewhat high-rise buildings in there. Maybe we'll do the high-rise band. I'm not sure in that area yet, but it definitely is something we'll come back and polish off that area in a later episode. Well, now that the neighborhood completely zoned in, I'm just gonna kind of go over an overview of everything we did in this episode. You can see that new office complexes are coming in nice. This is a new farming industry that we created. We used just the greenhouses here. I needed to do this to really help with the industry demand. But yeah, you can see across the river, it came in nice. This neighborhood is all polished, it is finished up. We have a mixture of residential. I love the way the train tracks work and how you have to stop sometimes when the train's coming. Very realistic to the real world, in my opinion, at least a lot of towns I've been in. Oh, there's a building upgrading. Love it. Yeah, that's one thing we will focus on to help increase that population. We got a little over 36,000, close to 37,000. I love seeing my parks in here. This one fit perfect. This food court type thing or food truck type park. It looks good in the neighborhood. People can just go over there, get some food. There's another one of our parks in there in the school area. Overall, I think it turned out really nice. I love the way this little area came out. It's unique compared to the other ones where we really use the districts to zone that. In this area up here, you can see we already bought that tile. We can grab our resources. There's a lot of ore. But the other thing I want to do is I want to fill this area up with water, as you can kind of get the idea as we've been showing this over time. Now that we have that tile unlocked, we'll be able to do that. And the thing I'm trying to do here, there we go, there's the right button, fish industry. I want to look at doing ore industry and the fish industry right next to each other there. We're going to get into that next episode. Definitely excited about being back in Cities Skylines and making expansions to this vanilla plus series with a few mods. I'm enjoying it. I took a nice break from it and we're back. Got a lot of good things planned. Since we're talking about Cities Skylines, I also wanted to mention our upcoming series where we're gonna do somewhat of a replica or recreation of a real life town. I've been kind of hush-hush of what that town is. If you can go into the community page and see some pictures, some people have guessed the area. I'm having fun with that, but we're pretty close to having that ready to start releasing those. And these videos for Newman Shore will come out on a weekly basis on Sundays. And then I'm gonna pick a day of the week for the new series, the highly detailed, highly modded series to come out. Those will be weekly as well once we get them started. I'm Sockswayup. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Newman Shore.